Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 spoilers. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Nick saves Sienna from Matt's deadly revenge trap. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Nick Newman may save Sienna Bacall from Mitch Bacall / Matt Clark's deadly revenge trap. Will Nick be the one who saves Sienna from a deadly revenge trap? Mitch Bacall was betrayed by Sienna Bacall. Sienna betrayed Mitch with Noah Newman. As a result, Noah's vehicle was run off the road and he was almost killed. Mitch has retaliated against Noah, but he is not finished. His wife still has to pay. Will she meet a similar fate to Noah, or will Mitch have another of trying to get revenge on his wife? During that week of November 10th to 14th, spoilers will prove that Mitch is far from done. Mitch will meet with his crooked cop buddy, Detective Burrows, who will be ordered to get the cop away from Noah's hospital room. Mitch obviously has more plans for Noah. Will Sienna face the same? Sienna Bacall has to pay too. Nick knows Mitch's secret, and he certainly plans to get to the bottom of this. However, Nick is onto Mitch and is determined to take him down before he can cause any more issues. It doesn't seem that Nick can pull off saving Sienna once Matt comes after her and puts Noah in danger again as well. Can Nick manage to keep Noah safe while he is saving Sienna? Will Sharon be the one to save Noah once Mitch comes after Noah again as well? Nick is going to see Sienna making out with Noah in his hospital bed, and that should give them a huge clue to what has been going on. Nick will confront both of them and explain just exactly how much danger they are in. Sienna Bacall doesn't know this man at all. Nick and Sharon could tell Sienna so much about her husband that she would turn and run away from this whole situation. However, Mitch may get Sienna under his control and teach her a lesson. Will Mitch rough up his wife a bit before sending her to the hospital? Will Nick save Sienna before any of this happens? Noah is still recovering from his accident that seems more like attempted murder. Nick will certainly put his son first and make sure that he isn't in any kind of danger. It seems that Nick will save Sienna at the last minute, getting her and Noah to safety. Will Nick step up for Sienna and save her before Mitch can get his hands on her? Confession, taking action, shocking discovery. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, November 11th, reveal some bombshells up ahead. Someone makes a confession, while another decides to take action, and a character makes a shocking discovery. What's on the horizon for Tuesday's show? Time to find out. Victor Newman's confession. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, November 11th, hint that Victor Newman will confession his recent business dealings to Nikki Newman. It sounds like he's going to bring Nikki into the loop about snagging the AI software from Phyllis Summers and using it against Kane Ashby's company, Arabesque. What will Nikki's reaction be? And will Victor also let her know he's planning on attacking Jabot too? Read this. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Nick saves Sienna's life. Hero stops Matt's cheater trap. Sharon Newman takes action. YNR fans can file this under the bad ideas that go wrong category, as teaser suggests that Sharon Newman will decide to take matters into her own hands. Sharon and Nick Newman believe that Mitch Bacall is Matt Clark, even though the man is denying it. Fans already know that Mitch is a very shady character at this point. It may be best for Sharon to sit back for at least 5 minutes to assess the situation, but instead she'll take control, which could land in her a dangerous situation. Nick Newman's shocking discovery. Speaking of Nick, the Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday state that he'll make a shocking discovery, and this week's preview for the soap shows Nick catching his son, Noah Newman, in a lip lock with Mitch's wife, Sienna Bacall. This wild on so many levels since Sienna is old enough to be Noah's mom. Plus she's married, and he's still in a relationship with Ali Abbott-Gwyn. How will Nick react when he's face to face with Noah, and how will Noah explain his actions? Michael discover that Mitch is Matt Clark? When we last saw the Young and the Restless Michael, he was talking to Victor at the GCAC, and Victor asked him to do a background check on Sienna. Victor is curious to know what her connection is to Noah and whether she was involved in Noah's car crash somehow. We have yet to hear what Michael discovered, if anything. Does he know that Sienna's husband, Mitch, is really Matt Clark? Michael's assignment on The Young and the Restless. Victor and Michael discussed Sienna at the GCAC on The Young and the Restless. On The Young and the Restless more than a week ago, Victor gave Michael the task of researching the background of Sienna Bacall. He told Michael she runs the Shadow Room nightclub in LA and she is an acquaintance of Noah's. Since Noah was last seen in the Shadow Room before the car crash, could Michael find out whether she had anything to do with the crash? Since Victor gave Michael that assignment, Sharon and Nick made the shocking discovery that Mitch is really Matt Clark, the man who raped Sharon over 20 years ago. We know how sharp Michael is, so he may stumble upon this information when he researches Sienna. What if he tells Victor that Matt is alive? Nick told Sharon not to say a word about Matt being alive on The Young and the Restless. Last week on The Young and the Restless, Nick told Sharon not to tell Nikki and Victoria that Matt Clark is alive and that Mitch is really Matt. He wants to find out what Mitch's endgame is first. He knew that if Sharon revealed the news to his mother and sister, they would then tell Victor. But what if Michael finds out this stunning news and he tells Victor? It feels unrealistic that Nick wants to keep this discovery between Sharon and himself. He knows the second Victor gets the news, all he needs to do is call his people, and they will instantly handle the Matt Clark problem. Why is Nick making this situation harder for himself and Sharon than it needs to be? See what happens when Nick doesn't tell Victor what's going on. Nick punched Matt at the Shadow Room on The Young and the Restless. Unfortunately, Nick always lets his temper get the best of him and lets his fists do the talking. When he returned to the Shadow Room and saw with his own eyes that Mitch is indeed Matt, he punched him in the face. Sienna had to act as the peacemaker and get in between them. Let's hope Michael finds out that Sienna's husband is not who he says he is. The sooner he learns the truth, the sooner he can report back to Victor and fill him in on the fact that Matt is most likely targeting Noah as a way of getting revenge against Nick and Sharon. Or is the real reason because Matt knows Sienna is cheating on him with Noah? Either way, Matt won't want to go up against Victor. He will lose. Since Nick doesn't like to deal with his enemies in a civil way, maybe he should step back and let his father take care of Matt. At least Victor would be keeping the entire Newman family safe, which would be a more productive way for him to spend his time than to wreak havoc on other GC businesses with the dangerous and illegal AI program. The betrayal of Sienna and Matt's dark returned for months. Sienna Bacall believed she had rebuilt her life after years of secrets and manipulation. Her marriage to Mitch Bacall seemed stable until she crossed a line that would change everything. When she fell into a forbidden affair with Noah Newman, she thought she had found escape and passion. But that betrayal didn't just destroy her marriage. It awakened a monster. Because Mitch Bacall wasn't the man he claimed to be. He was Matt Clark, a ghost from Genoa City's past, a man who once tormented thee, and especially Sharon. The discovery that Mitch and Matt were one and the same sent shockwaves through the Newman family. For Nick, it was a haunting déjà vu, a reminder of the trauma Matt had inflicted decades earlier when he assaulted Sharon and vowed revenge on them. Now that vengeance has returned in full force, wrapped in a new identity, polished and calculating, but just as venomous as ever. Matt's twisted plan began with Noah's car accident, a trap that left Nick's son hospitalized and fighting for his life. To everyone else, it looked like a tragic crash, but Nick knew better. It was revenge, cold, deliberate, and unfinished. Nick's determination to stop Matt. Nick's protective instincts ignite when he learns that Sienna was involved with Noah. He's furious, not only because of his son's betrayal of family values, but because he knows Sienna's husband is a dangerous man with a deadly grudge. When Nick discovers that Mitch's real identity is Matt Clark, everything clicks into place. Noah's crash was not accidental. It was retribution. And Sienna, now caught between her husband and her lover, has unknowingly become the next target. Determined to stop the cycle of pain, Nick vows to expose Matt before anyone else gets hurt. He joins forces with Sharon, who carries her own ghosts from the past, and Michael Baldwin, who is conducting a quiet investigation into Sienna's background for Victor. The deeper they dig, the clearer the picture becomes. Sienna is not the villain, but the pawn in Matt's twisted game. The crooked cop connection. As the week unfolds, Mitch's plan grows darker. He meets secretly with Detective Burrows, a corrupt officer willing to bend the rules for the right price. What is Burrows' first task? Distract the guards watching Noah's hospital room. Mitch wants access to his stepson, or rather his victim. With Noah helpless and sedated, Mitch sees the perfect opportunity to finish what he started. But Burrows' hesitation almost ruins the plan, forcing Mitch to manipulate and threaten him until the cop complies. Nick, on the other hand, senses something off. When the police rotation around Noah's room suddenly changes, Nick's instincts kick in. Years of business wars and family crises have sharpened his ability to spot deceit. He pulls security footage, sees a familiar figure lurking near the hospital's rear entrance, Mitch Bacall, and realizes he's walking straight into another trap. Sienna's realization and desperation. Across town, Sienna begins to see the cracks in her husband's mask. The man she once loved now feels like a stranger, unpredictable, menacing, and cold. His sudden mood swings, the cryptic phone calls, and his obsession with Noah's accident fill her with dread. When she discovers an unregistered handgun hidden in their home, her worst fears are confirmed. Mitch is planning something terrible. Haunted by guilt over Noah's near death and terrified for her own life, Sienna turns to the one person she believes might understand, Sharon Newman. In a tense meeting at Crimson Lights, Sienna tearfully admits that she doesn't know who her husband truly is anymore. Sharon's blood runs cold as she listens, realizing that Sienna's descriptions of Mitch match Matt Clark's behaviors perfectly. The same manipulative charm, the same chilling unpredictability. Sharon warns her to leave town immediately, but it's too late. Mitch has been tracking Sienna's every move. By the time she returns home, he's waiting, and this time he's not hiding behind his mask. Matt's revenge trap. In the dim light of the Bacall's secluded home, the tension snaps like a wire. Matt confronts Sienna with evidence of her affair, photos, messages, even security footage from the Shadow Room nightclub. His voice is deceptively calm as he tells her how she destroyed his trust. When Sienna tries to defend herself, insisting that she thought he was a different man, Matt's facade cracks. His fury explodes, revealing the monster underneath. He tells her the truth, that he's Matt Clark, not Mitch Bacall, and that he's been waiting years to make the Newmans suffer. Sienna, horrified, tries to run, but he blocks her path. "You took my name, my life, and you gave it to them," he snarls. "Now you'll watch them die before I take yours." The trap laid by Matt is already moving. He's planted explosives in Noah's hospital wing and set a timer. His plan is simple: kill Noah and make Nick watch his world crumble, just as Matt's did years ago. Then he'll kill Sienna for her betrayal. Nick's shocking discovery. At the same time, Nick returns to the hospital and is stunned to find Noah awake and kissing Sienna. The scene stops him cold. Rage and confusion flood his face as he demands answers. Sienna breaks down and confesses everything: her affair, her guilt, her fear that her husband is planning something terrible. When she mentions the word timer, Nick freezes. He's seen this before: the method, the psychological games. It's all Matt Clark. Nick's phone buzzes, a message from Michael Baldwin confirming what he feared. Mitch Bacall doesn't exist. His fingerprints match Matt Clark's old criminal records. The truth has a powerful impact. Matt's alive, and he's targeting his family again. Nick races against the clock, literally, to find and stop him. He calls in security, orders an evacuation, and alerts Sharon and Victor. But Matt's already one step ahead. He's lured Sienna back to their house, pretending to offer forgiveness. The confrontation. Nick arrives at the Bacall residence moments before disaster strikes. The house is eerily quiet, the lights flickering from a power surge. Inside, Sienna is tied to a chair and Matt is pacing, detonator in hand. The tension is suffocating. Matt taunts Nick as he enters. "Back from the dead," Matt smirks, just like me. Nick tries to reason with him, to appeal to whatever shred of humanity remains, but Matt is beyond saving. He rants about betrayal, Sharon's rejection, Nick's privilege, Sienna's infidelity, all twisted into a justification for murder. When he raises the detonator, Nick lunges. A brutal fight ensues, echoing the violence of their past confrontations. Furniture shatters, glass breaks, and years of hatred come spilling out in every punch. Sienna manages to free herself during the struggle and screams for Nick to run. But Nick won't leave. He manages to knock the detonator from Matt's hand, sending it sliding under a table. The red light flashes faster. Seconds remain. Nick grabs Sienna and drags her toward the door as Matt, bloodied and defeated, laughs maniacally. "Run, Newman," he spits. "You can't escape me. Not then, not now." Nick and Sienna burst outside just as the house erupts into flames. The explosion lights up the night sky, a fiery symbol of Matt's rage and the destruction he leaves behind. Aftermath, confession, and reckoning. In the aftermath, Sienna is taken to the hospital, shaken but alive. Nick stands by her bedside, the weight of everything sinking in. Sharon arrives, relieved but fearful that Matt might still be alive. His body was never found in the wreckage. Victor, ever the strategist, vows to find him and end the threat once and for all. Meanwhile, Michael Baldwin reports his findings to Victor, confirming that Matt had been living under false identities for years, funneling money through the shadow room to fund his revenge plots. The revelation that he infiltrated Noah's life so deeply leaves the Newmans rattled, especially Nick, who blames himself for not acting sooner. Sienna, guilt-ridden, offers to leave town, but Nick convinces her to stay until the danger is truly over. He tells her that she's not responsible for Matt's sins, that she too was a victim. This moment of compassion marks a turning point for Nick. For years, he's been haunted by his inability to protect the people he loves from the ghosts of the past. Saving Sienna becomes his redemption. Sharon's emotional turmoil. Sharon's emotional state spirals as she relives the trauma Matt inflicted decades ago. Seeing his face again, hearing his voice through Sienna's descriptions, it all brings the nightmare flooding back. She confides in Nick that she feels like history is repeating itself, that Matt's obsession with destroying them will never end. Nick comforts her, promising that this time will be different. He won't let Matt win again. Their bond, forged through pain and resilience, strengthens once more, a reminder that even in the chaos of Genoa City, love and loyalty remain their greatest weapons. The lingering threat. Though the explosion should have ended everything, the final scene leaves fans with a chilling twist. In the shadows outside town, a burned but breathing hand emerges from the wreckage of a crashed vehicle. The camera pans upward to reveal Matt Clark's sinister grin. He's alive, and his revenge is far from over. Meanwhile, Sienna receives an anonymous message. "You thought you could escape me?" Her heart races as she realizes the nightmare isn't over. Themes and emotional arcs. Redemption and protection. Nick's arc in this storyline isn't just about saving Sienna, it's about redeeming himself for the mistakes of the past. His failure to protect Sharon from Matt years ago still haunts him. This time, he refuses to let history repeat itself. His heroism comes not from brute force, but from his empathy and determination to protect both Sienna and Noah. The power of the past. Matt Clark's return symbolizes how unresolved trauma can poison generations. His vendetta against the Newmans isn't just about revenge. It's about power, about forcing them to relive the fear he once inflicted. His survival from presumed death mirrors how evil and pain never truly disappear. They linger, waiting for weakness. Sienna's transformation. Sienna's journey from complicit adulteress to terrified victim and ultimately survivor gives the story its emotional heart. Her betrayal sets the plot in motion, but her suffering humanizes her. By the end, she becomes a symbol of endurance, a woman manipulated by love, punished by vengeance, but saved by truth. Sharon's strength. Though Sharon doesn't physically battle Matt, her strength lies in confronting the emotional scars he left behind. Her decision to help Sienna, despite her own trauma, shows growth and resilience. She refuses to let Matt control her narrative again. Victor and Michael's intelligence war. In parallel, Victor Newman and Michael Baldwin play a quiet but crucial role. Matt's identity is revealed by Victor's instincts about Sienna's connection to Noah, and Michael's brilliant investigative skills reveal the specifics. Their subplot grounds the chaos in logic and strategy, proof that brains and power often win where brute force fails. Conclusion. Nick saves Sienna from Matt's deadly revenge trap, stands as one of the Young and the Restless most emotionally charged arcs in recent memory, blending suspense, romance, family loyalty, and psychological warfare. It revisits old wounds, redefines relationships, and reaffirms the show's timeless message. The past may haunt you, but it doesn't have to define you. Nick Newman emerges not just as a hero, but as a man who has learned from every mistake. Sienna, though broken, finds a sliver of hope through his compassion. Sharon confronts her demons, and Victor, ever the patriarch, prepares to strike back against the shadow that refuses to die. And somewhere in the dark corners of Genoa City, Matt Clark, burned, broken, but alive, plots his next move. The fire may have ended one battle. However, the battle for the Newman souls has just begun.